only to wake up at the house a family rented for the wedding. Misty thinks they are cheating on her because she runs out of the room to wake up Niles and tell him to come with her. Before he follows Sarah out, Niles tells her that she is the one who is cheating on him. They get in her car and drive away while he says that he does not know what is going on, that it could be limbo or a glitch in the simulation, and that is why he has given up and accepted the fact that nothing he does actually matters dozens of times over. Sarah thinks this is a dumb idea because then they would not have a reason to live, but Niles says they have no choice but to keep living because dying just starts the day over again. He has tried to kill himself dozens of times and it has not worked. Again, Sarah does not pay attention to him, and when they hit a truck, they both die. The day starts over again, and while Sarah comes to terms with this, Niles takes her to a bar in the desert. Niles dares a local woman named Darla to a game of darts after telling her about the time he got all the way to Guinea by eating crystals. He has played this game so many times that he knows how to shoot exactly. However, he fails when Sarah remembers the crazy guy with the bow and asks him about him. Niles then tells Sarah the story about the crazy guy with the bow. A lot of resets ago, when he was still learning how things worked, he met Roy at Abby's wedding. Roy was one of Abby's relatives. After talking and having a drink at the bar, Roy told Niles that the wedding officiant had some drugs in his pocket. Niles cut the officiant off in the middle of his speech to take the drugs. They took drugs together in the bathroom and laughed like idiots about it. Then they danced at the party before going to the desert to look at the stars. When Roy told him it was the best night ever and he did not want it to end, Niles took him to the cave so he could join the time loop too. Roy did not like being in the loop at all, and ever since, he's been after Niles to get his own back. Since he does not live nearby, he only shows up every few days, and when he does, his payback can be very violent and cruel. This is why Niles said he would never bring another person into this life again. Sarah's case was a mistake. She also thinks that Niles should talk to Roy because he cannot stay away from him forever, but Niles does not agree. After the bar, they eat lunch at a burrito cart, where Niles gives a kid extra money. He is selling small things because he no longer cares about money. Sarah asks him if he has taken advantage. Niles asks him if he is aware of the situation and has slept with other people. He says yes, which makes him talk about all his lovers. He has slept with Misty, the bartender, Darla, and even Jerry just to find out what it is like to be a guy. He also talks about Howard, but only to trick Sarah about that. He tells her that they have never slept together, and they agree not to do it now that they are stuck together, and it would only make things weird. Niles wants to go back to the party, but Sarah will not let him. She says that love is not real, and that people only get married because they do not want to be alone. She also will not tell Niles about her own close relationships. Then she has an idea. Maybe she is stuck in this loop because of karma, and to get out, she needs to do something really selfless, like Tala did by giving her bone marrow. The two go back to the wedding, where Sarah, as a bridesmaid, stops the ceremony to say something to Tala that makes her very angry. Then she runs back to the bar, where Niles finds her playing pool and bragging about how smart her idea was. But when she goes to sleep, the day starts over, so her plan did not work out. She says that life is pointless, and then goes to pick up Niles at his bedroom, where Misty again thinks he is cheating on her. Then, Niles and Sarah start spending their days together, trying to find something to do with all of their free time. They sunbathe at the pool of a neighbor's house while the owners are on vacation. They rent guns and learn to shoot. They drive wildly. They even sneak into a plane and fly, but it crashes soon after takeoff. As more reset days go by, Sarah becomes more and more like Niles in that she has no shame, so their pranks also get worse. They work on a dance routine together, then do it in a bar while giving everyone the finger and running away. One time at the wedding party, Sarah goes after the groomsman who had hit on her before. She tells him to wear a blindfold and wait for her in the bathroom. So he walks into Misty and the wedding priest while they are busy. Another time, they stop a party by finding a bomb in the cake and putting on a show of a good pirate fighting a bad one. Sarah throws Niles a party at the bar with the wedding cake. For the millionth time, the game is restarted. They also get wiener tattoos from each other, and sometimes they even end the day by hugging. Niles tries to tell Sarah one night while they are camping that the past does not matter to him because he only cares about the present. Sarah tells him her story anyway. She was married for 2 years, but she knew from the start that it was not going to work, but she still did it. When she asks Niles what he was doing before he got stuck, he says he cannot remember because it has been so long, but that could be the mushrooms talking. Because now they are making them see dinosaurs walking around in the desert. They are so surprised that they do not even know they are holding hands. Later, when they go to sleep in their tent, Sarah asks Niles to make love to her. Niles is not sure, but he agrees. The next morning when they wake up, they are both happy and proud of themselves for a change. Sarah does not have much time to enjoy this happiness. By not running out of the room as soon as she wakes up, she is forced to face the mistake she has been trying to avoid. This is Abe's room, because she slept with him the night before the wedding. She leaves with Niles in the car, but she does not really listen to what he says because she is too busy thinking about how she needs to get out of the loop, so she does not wake up with Abe again. Niles thinks this morning is different and much better because of what they did last night, but Sarah still thinks everything is pointless, which hurts Niles a little. Sarah does not want to talk about what they did because she is focused on a police car that has been following them for a while. She starts speeding on purpose because she has never been jailed before and wants to know what is going on. When the police siren goes off, she pulls over and goes to talk to the officer, saying that Niles has taken her and she needs help. At first, he does not want to get out of the car because he thinks the cop might be Roy. When he finally does get out, he sees that he was right to be suspicious, but he does not have to worry about getting shot this time because Sarah gets in the police car and runs over Roy, because death does not mean anything either. Then, a second cop on a bike shows up, but Sarah is not scared. Instead, she makes fun of him until he tases them both and puts them in jail. Sarah's attitude bothers Niles, so he tells her that the pain is real and that what they do to other people matters because they have to live with the weight of what they have done. They start fighting and blaming each other for keeping her in the loop until Niles finally admits he lied and that they have hooked up before many times. This makes Sarah angry, and she wants to get out of the loop even more than before, so she walks in front of a truck to start the day over. The next morning, Niles is upset that Sarah did not pick him up like she usually does, so he goes looking for her. She is not in her room, and no one knows where she is. He has tried to find her many times, but has not been able to, so he has stopped having fun. He just sits down on beds or pool floats and cries. One night, when I was out with Abe's room with the guys and the wedding officiant, he smells something familiar on his pillow. It is Sarah's perfume. When the groomsmen tell him that Abe slept there last night, Niles sees what has happened and stops the party to tell everyone what Abe has done. To prove it, he gives Tala the pillow that smells like the perfume she bought herself. Now that Niles knows why Sarah hates herself and why she wakes up every morning at the same bus stop, he tries to protect her against her family for thinking so little of her. But he gets jumped on by a furious Abe. While they are fighting on the floor, Niles gets a fork and stabs Abe in the cheek, which makes them both feel scared. So the next time the day starts over, Niles keeps his mouth shut and watches the wedding go on normally. When Howard and Pia give their speech, however, he starts to cry. Later, he goes somewhere private with Jerry, who soothes him as he says he loves and misses Sarah. Niles is sick of living this way, so he goes to Roy's house to turn himself in. However, Roy does not look as angry as he usually does. He calls him in and offers him a beer while showing him his great life, 2 kids, a beautiful wife, and a great house. He used to be angry at Niles because he would never see his children grow up. But after Sarah sent him to the hospital, he has a new outlook. Today is a perfect day spent with his family, and he gets to live it over and over. Nothing could be better than that. Roy thinks it is good that Niles has Sarah with him because no one should have to go through this alone. He also thinks he and Niles should not see each other again. Niles asks Roy to kill him one last time as a way to say goodbye. Sarah, on the other hand, has been busy the whole time. After they are arrested, she wakes up and tells Abe right away that they are bad people who deserve anything bad that happens to them. She then runs out of the house. From then on, she spends hundreds of resets at a diner learning about quantum physics and general relativity. She does this by reading books, watching online classes, and even talking to real scientists. When she thinks she knows enough, she starts taking readings of the cave and testing with a goat and some explosives. Once she knows the answer, she finally goes back to see Niles, who is glad to see her and says he is sorry for keeping things from her. He wants them to start over, but Sarah is not interested. She is glad he is sorry, but she does not care about the rest. She tells him that she has come to the conclusion that they are stuck inside an energy box and that to get out of the loop, they need to leave the box during the 3.2 seconds it takes to move through it. The way to do this is to use explosives and blow themselves up during that time window. She does not know where or when they will land, or if they will even survive, but she has tried it on a goat, and the animal is no longer in the loop. Niles, on the other hand, does not want to be left out. He tells Sarah he loves her and that he knows about her relationship with Abe. He then tells her he wants to stay with her forever in the loop and have the best life possible because the real world is bad. Sarah tells him no and gives him one last hug and a goodbye before leaving. When Misty sees her and makes a scene, Niles just breaks up with her. The wedding goes on as usual, but when Sarah's turn comes to give a speech, she takes it seriously and says some lovely things about how nice and hopeful her sister is. When they hug, Darla is glad to see that Sarah is wearing the perfume she gave Sarah. During the party, Niles' grandmother, who generally compliments him on his speech, instead compliments her. Niles, meanwhile, is at the bar drinking away his sadness. Darla tells him he will not find what he is looking for here, which makes him realize what a fool he has been moping around. Niles then does something to make the bartender kick him out, which he does on purpose so he can get close enough to him to steal his truck keys. He starts driving to the cave, but gets a flat tire on the way. When he realizes he is close to a shooting range he has been to before, he tells the owner he is the owner's son, using what he has learned from those trips. The man believes him because he told him things that no one else could know. He then rides his bike with him to the cave. When Sarah sees them, she tells Niles that time is running out so he does not do anything stupid. Niles did not get to give a whole speech, just one sentence, so he says he was nervous, but now he is not. Understood that life has to be shared, and he would rather die with Sarah than live without her. Sarah also tells him she wants to be with him, and the two of them walk into the cave holding hands. Sarah tells him she loves him too, and then she kisses him and sets off the bombs. When they wake up, they are glad to see that they have, in fact, been taken out of the loop. The next day, they are still happy, so they hang out in the pool. Quite surprisingly, the next day, the family who owns the house comes back and catches them in the act. While this is going on, Roy, who is still out of the loop, goes to the wedding party. Hearing Sarah's message about her idea, he tries to talk to Niles, but does not know who he is. Roy laughs at this turn of events and asks for a drink with a lot of alcohol in it. Click this video to enjoy another amazing movie. Don't miss out on its shocking ending. Using the